turn here on, you heard all the air rushing and the beepers and stuff going on. When we first put the air pack on, all those alarms go off to say that it's working properly. Okay, that tells us it's full air and everything went active. Okay. Then we've got mics on our mask. See the little red light? He can talk. He can talk, and Mike makes his voice more pronounced because we can't hear you. Remember, when smoke starts banking down in a room, it takes sound away. So that means you got to yell. But you'll be able to hear him because he's going to be yelling. Yell. Say hi. Now turn it off. Now yell. Hello. Feel different? So they put microphones in there so that you'll be able to hear us and we can talk to each other with the mask on. Now see his pack is blinking. We blink. We got all kinds of weird stuff going on nowadays. We got lights everywhere. Let us know where that we're there, just to be seen. Stand still. See, he can't stand still like you guys either. See that sound? It's telling us he hasn't moved in a while. And if he doesn't move, see how it gets louder? Now they'll go full alert where it's just nothing but sound. That lets us, from the other guys around them, or the people outside, if we hear it outside, that one of our own is down. That's a safety feature for us. Remember, do you have the air bottles and stuff at home like this? No. No? Okay. Do you have the gear like this? The heavy gear that's fire retardant? No. She does, because her dad runs the Shenango Fire Department. That's why I know she does. All right. So, but she doesn't have an air bottle at home. That's why with smoke we got to keep low, right?
Yeah, because if we stand out in the smoke, we can't breathe the smoke.
Exactly. You can't breathe the smoke. That's good. And we can see better. Right? Now, we talked about checking doors. How do you check a door?
When they're, like feeling your headache.
That's right. You feel with the back of your hand because the natural instant reaction is to grab a hold and use the palm of your hand. So you burn your hand. So now we use the back of our hand because naturally pull away, right? If the door is hot, what do? We go to the window, right? Window. Or another exit. All right, you still got it back on? All right. See, what makes us be able to go to fire, we take our air with us in the bottle. But we only have between a half an hour to 45 minutes that we can work. The air goes through the tube to the regulator, which is connected to the face piece. And that Darth Vader sound is we're exhaling. That's that Darth Vader sound you hear. That's right. See, when you do that, what happens? It makes a loud exhale, doesn't it? Now, when we were crawling around, we were planking on the floor, right? The reason why we do that, we're checking the floor. For one, we check the floor. One, to see if the floor is still there. Because the fire's underneath us, the floor will go away, right? Because everything's wood. Most of your houses are made of wood. See? So we plank the floor to make sure that the floor is still there. And also, when we come up and we might bump into something. He says, well, that's in the middle somewhere. The smoke might get to you and you might pass out. Okay? And you might not be able to tell us where you're at. So what he'll do is, one of the rescuers, when he was sweeping the floor, he was checking to see if you were there. If you're not able to speak, he will bump into you and he'll feel around, because remember, sometimes you can't see, and you'll say, oh, that's a person, so we'll pick them up and pull them out.
Yeah, because they can't breathe.
In the snow, that's right.
Yeah, and they can't walk if they do that.
Now, a couple other things we got to go over. The smoke detectors in your house, how many have one? Raise your hand. Okay. When do we change the batteries? Once a month? Well, that's a little often, but you can do it.
Once a week.
No, that's way too often.
Once a
You do
day.
it twice a year.
Once a year.
You know how we do that daylight savings time? Where we turn the clocks forward in the spring and we turn them back in the fall? That's when you should change your batteries and your smoke detectors. That little 9 volts, they'll last for 6 months. Okay? So what you do is you just change them out and you check them once a month. Just pushing a button. You can check the smoke detectors and make sure that the battery's still good. Or even more often than once a week. I see a lot of people check them. But just a reminder, you got to change them the turn of the clock. It makes it easier to remember. So when you turn that clock ahead, you change the batteries.
Like, if you passed out, then the rescuers would, see if you're there. That's why they were bringing.
Yeah, that's why they feel around. And also, you notice how the one guy was feeling the wall? He had one hand on the wall,
Yeah.
and the other guy was on his outer boot. The reason why you do that, there's usually 2 rescuers together. One feels the wall all the way around and follows the wall. The other one spreads out. And normally your living room is not this size, or your bedroom. So what he does is he takes the end of the wooden tool, or the wood part of the axe, and he's pushing around to see what's in the middle of the floor. So if he bumps into something, he's going to go over and check that. But that spreads us out. So one guy here, he's only checking this much space. With 2 guys, now we're going all the way to the caution tape, right? So that's a big span. And if you go all the way around your room, I bet you we cover the whole entire room.